Hey there, Eli here to show you how you've been misled by every other cave troll video guide that has you moving clockwise around him. In the background while I'm talking here, this is a recording of me going clockwise against the normal cave troll with a white rapier and nothing else. As you'll see when I'm talking, the only times I can really hit him is when he does his overhead slam and does only the first attack of his 3-hit potential attack pattern. I do get him to do his walking lunge attack once in this fight, but that's kind of lucky. It's unusual for him to do that when we're moving this way around him. And when he does it, because we're moving counterclockwise, we are on the opposite side of him that we need to be in order to punish him correctly. But the reason I'm making this video is because I have seen so many other video guides and instances where I'm playing the Goblin Caves and I see people dying to the cave troll that I felt a need to point out why moving counterclockwise is the way to go. And while I'm going to be showing you an example as the rogue with a white rapier, keep in mind that I do have a video up of doing every class with their base starting gear and how to kill the troll with it. So this strategy, this movement pattern, isn't unique to the rogue, it's just easiest to see why it's better with the rogue. And to be clear, it's best and easiest with the rogue because the rogue's starting agility is so high that our movement speed and action speed is fast enough where we can, especially with the Jokester perk for an additional +2, move around the troll and get in and out faster, allowing us more opportunities for more hits. And as we come up to the minute 30 mark here, I'm going to pause because this is where counterclockwise has killed the troll already. And as you see from the fast forward here, it takes roughly twice as long to kill the cave troll moving clockwise. And just to get it out of the way, I suspect the reason moving clockwise against the normal troll is so pervasive is because that's a strategy you use against the elite version of the cave troll in the high roller map. We do this because he has a ground pound attack that if you move counterclockwise against him will hit you and hurt you over time. But since the normal cave troll does not have this attack, we can move counterclockwise and it is roughly twice as efficient. And now that the final circles are landing in random places like they were always meant to, the time to kill for the troll is especially impactful. It allows us time to loot his treasure room, gives us more opportunity to get in and out before other players find us, and position ourselves well to actually extract. So with all that said, let's watch a counterclockwise rotation around the cave troll and see how it works. Before we start the fight, I prefer to be on this side of the arena so that if he starts with his roar, we can reset him by going back to the door. If you have the spacing down for manipulating him to do the low swing every time after the roar, you won't have to reset him. But from what I can see, the only classes that could make the most use of that manipulation would be the Warlock and the Wizard, so I'm not too concerned. Right off the bat, we see the most common attack he throws, which is the first hit of his potential 3-hit pattern. Although it's a 3-attack pattern, he can cancel either of the first 2 hits into another attack or stop and do nothing after either one. In this instance, he does the full 3 attacks. Swipe, swipe, overhead. Let's break this down a little. No matter what, on the first swipe, we can begin punishing him immediately with a stab. And on the second swipe, we can stab his arm. This is already 2 more hits than you can do safely when moving clockwise. But we're reading him, right? And see he did his first 2 attacks, and after that second swipe in our punish hit on his arm, we have to assume he's going to finish his 3-attack pattern into the overhead slam. This means we're holding D here to move sideways while we're hitting his arm so that we space him correctly if he does do the overhead, which he does. This means we get 2 headshots and an additional hit on his hand while we're repositioning back to neutral. The amount of hits this rotation gives us is why we use Poisoned Weapon. Now we see him do the first attack of his pattern and then do nothing. As soon as we notice he's resting, we can hit the full punish of 3 hits. This many hits is possible because we're able to be right next to him the entirety of the fight, so long as he's not doing his 2-handed slam. Next up, we have the first attack of the pattern into the walking lunge. This is more free headshots for us and a move that isn't often triggered by going clockwise. We get to headshot and body shot him as punishment for this, and in exchange, all we do is crouch and look down while he swings over us. Here's a plain overhead slam, which is also the 3rd attack of his 3-hit pattern. When using the clockwise strat on this, we get 2 hits. Using counterclockwise, we often get 2 headshots and a 3rd hit on the limb. On the big overhead slam, we move away as normal. However, because our positioning when moving counterclockwise allows us to be closer to him in general, we can get an additional limb hit on the way back in if we want it. I decided here to hope for a rupture headshot and the troll happened to oblige, but normally I'd just hit his limb on the way back in. So as you can see, to touch on this note again, because we're getting a lot of consistent hits in, Poisoned Weapon on the rogue is going to have significant uptime, which will do a fair amount of damage over the course of the fight. But even without Poisoned Weapon or being a rogue, moving counterclockwise allows every class the ability to consistently score safe hits against him. It's very much worth noting that base kit Bard is even faster on average than the rogue, with an average time to kill of somewhere between a minute 10 and a minute 20. Additionally, because the Bard has plus 100 luck on opening chests and the ability to open locked chests, this makes the Bard the king of farming troll. The Bard also gets song buffs that make him tankier, faster, and hit harder than the Rogue. The only downside, if there is one, to the Bard is that it's more mechanically challenging to recast Shriek of Weakness when the troll does his two-head overhead slam that forces us to walk away. But this, like the rest of the fight, can be practiced. For those of you interested, he'll often do his roar when you replay the song on your way in, because you have a bit of distance between the two of you. So be prepared to just keep running towards the side and get some free hits in. One final note on the Rogue: base kit, use the Rondel Dagger, not the Castellan. You can absolutely do it with the Castellan Dagger, but the Rondel is easier for consistent, safe hits. And that should do it. After watching this video, I don't want to see you getting hit by the troll, unless someone's messing with the aggro to try to get you killed. And if someone's trying to do this to you, just leave the fight and go kill them. With random final circles, you don't have time to waste. By the way, if you found this useful, hit like and subscribe. It's a big help to me. As always, this is Eli, signing off.